Hey everyone, how you doing today? I thought I'd show you an update on this combat CV, and it's just about done. I've got to do a little tender loving cure to it, and I also got to get in sensors and LCDs and label some things and stuff like that. But I pretty much have everything worked out now. The interior was a son of a gun to work with, and the reason I made it extra hard because I kept on trying to get more and more parts and things into it. I had to reconfigure things a few times and all kinds of stuff, and then test it, make sure it didn't blow up with power problems, and which it did have some power problems earlier on, especially after I added more parts. So the hull didn't change much from the last time I shown it. I did work this area a little bit more with the blocks, basically manipulating some of the angles to a little slightly different angles, and just kind of like messing with that for a little bit. But other than that, it's pretty much the same thing. It's still running 10 plasma turrets and 4 of the heavy plasma launchers. And then beyond that, it's got 4 sentry guns. So not a lot of sentry guns on the build. I could probably try to find places to stick in a couple more of those. They're not too hard to fit. So I got this just flying right now. Obviously, there's no sensor here right now for the hangar door. Let's get inside. I'll show you what's going on and go over the specs. Now, the version we're looking at right now is a Core 9. Not the Core 7. Now, I do intend on having this become a Core 7 again. It's just I wanted to load it up with all the parts to see how things played and see if I need to make changes. So that's kind of where it's at right now. Now, all the thrusters currently are ion, though. They're not upgraded to plasma. So, yeah, hangar's pretty, not a real big hangar, but big enough to park something. Does have a full medical bay on this side. Keep in mind, no LCDs are added to the ship yet, so I'll probably have like some kind of medical sign or something there. I'm trying to make that look a little snazzier. So all our stuff there, we got of course, our shower and toilet in there as well. Up here, there's like a little cockpit area in the hangar. It's kind of behind that reverse big XL thruster with some Xeno plating behind that yet. So kind of a safe location. Sort of, except for the back. And I do worry about that. These back doors don't have much hit points, and there's nothing else there. But it's, I mean, my options are limited. I could try to change the back end and put in a traditional hangar door, which I think would look really ugly on this build. But I don't have room to add like a big wall of blast doors here either. So unless I want to make the ship bigger and push it out further to make it heavier yet, which I'm a little scared to do. So, well, also there's not really, I know you see one generator up there, but there's not really any parts in here that are valuable either into the hangar. Just, you know, this stuff. Yeah, there's nothing really on the ceiling. Everything's somewhere else, basically. So anything that's expensive at least. Now, in these front rooms are going to look a little weird right now because I added in all the shield parts on here, which is fairly significant. But these rooms, these medium shields you see right as you walk in the door right now, wouldn't be here stock. It kind of lets you walk over and look at the small shields parts. So there's on each side of the hangar, there's 4 small shield parts and then a location for 1 medium shield part. Now that's just in that location. That's not the main shield area at all. But so you can't really see much in there right now. There wasn't much to see though. So, here, let me go upstairs. Get into the actual engineering area. So, E for engineering. So, this is where it gets... The inside of this thing's kind of tripped out a little bit. I had play a lot of, like, I don't know, like, trying to fit a lot of things in a fairly small area. And I came up after banging my head against the wall a while. I finally ended up with this setup here. So we got our advanced warp drive, and that's going to come stock with it. We got 2 of these advanced generators. This is actually armored glass in front of it, so it's actually like a wall of armored glass. Even goes across the top of the door. The weakest point is the door right here, but also doesn't line up to any parts. Then there's another wall of armored glass over here by like where the core room is. And there's some Xeno blocks like in the walls around the whole area too. So in here, this is it's set to Core 9 right now. So here's the 2 superior cores. They won't be in here stock, but obviously it's going to have locations for them. And then it does have a location for a small fusion reactor. So 3x3 area here. And on the power setup, I was testing this with 2 advanced generators and one of the 1x3 generators, whatever those are called. And yeah, it actually worked. So you don't need the fusion reactor. But the fusion reactor would be a cost savings in CPU. So that's why it's got a home for it. So if you walk in here, this is gonna be a hot zone. I'm gonna try to put an LCD in here saying this is gonna be a hot zone. So as soon as you go past this door, yeah, you definitely want a suit that can handle it because you're too close to the generator to not get fried and stuff like that. So we got the 2 generators over on this side. It's probably only going to come stock with 1 of these. It doesn't need 2 unless I run the shield setup that it's got on it currently. Then an advanced warp drive. And then this is really weird here. And keep in mind, it looks like this walkway is centered in the ship. It's not. This whole area is asymmetrical, while this whole part of the ship is here. So, and then you come into like the main shield room here. Let me lower the lighting down a little bit here. Well, I don't even know what this looks like. I did all, it's too dark. I did all this in space, so I kind of tuned it for space lighting, which I normally do. So now I'm on the planet's surface, and lighting looks, of course, different. But, okay, so in here, we've got our main advanced shield there. And then we got 4 more medium shield parts. There's 2 there and 2 there. So on the current configuration on shielding on the ship, I have the 8 small shields are balanced. So in other words, there's 4 chargers, 4 capacitors. The 6 medium shields are balanced. There's 3 chargers and 3 capacitors. And then when we get into our large shields, there's also 3 large shield locations. One of them set to a capacitor, and the other 2, one of them set to a charger, and the other 2 are set to capacitors. And that forms the full shield on the ship here. Now it does have front and rear Wi-Fi, and I use the slightly better model of Wi-Fi as well. So it does require a couple gold ingots per Wi-Fi unit. But so then beyond that wall, we've got our 3rd large shield part over here. So that is kind of the configuration of like all the shields and everything like that. So with this configuration, power comes, it's actually cool with power. It's right to the limits, but it doesn't go over. So I'm happy about that, and you don't need the fusion reactor. So current specifications here, it's hitting 118,000 on shield. It's Core 9 set up here, but I got leftover CPU at Core 9 at least. It's motion. It's doing 45 forward, 33 strafing, 25 lift, 32 reverse, 25 down. Pitch, yaw, and roll are kind of, they're relatively balanced on a lot of the thruster speeds around the board. They're not real fast, but I kept on slowing it down with all the Xeno blocks and stuff I was adding in here. In fact, for Xeno material, it does require 7,000 Xeno material. So, okay, so on the rest of the ship, if we go forward here, we get into something I gotta ask y'all a question about. So now we're gonna start to get into the armored decoy section of the ship, beyond this wall, basically. There's a blast door right here, too, that's just not closed or open right now. So here's the decoy turret. And what I'm doing here is I put in a kill switch. And I don't know if I should or not, but let me know your thoughts on that. Kill switch is basically, I took the core and I put it right below that turret. So if this Xeno block wall here gets penetrated, there's another one there, and it starts hammering this turret, and this turret explodes or happens to take out the core during this process, that means you already lost pretty much the whole front end of the ship, and this is the kill switch for it. So it should blow the core, and then protect all the expensive parts in this other room. It does have this lower hallway kind of underneath there too, to I don't know, because I could do it. That's why it's there. But yeah, so it's like like lots of walls of Xeno in places. So if we go forward from there, past this location, let me climb the stair. Here, I don't know if that's working out super well yet. Okay, so over here, I also wanted to allow you to get into where all the other stuff was. Now, you can't really see the decoys because they're all buried in blocks, but this is extra, like, this is all Xeno. Oh my god, come on. I try to go out of God mode and it always fails. But you can add some more blocks in here, but it's a really bizarre configuration of blocks that's happening in here. But it's all, there's a reason for all the blocks. They're trying to protect something, or trying to protect a line of sight from a particular angle from the front of the ship, or something like that. That's what's going on. There's another walkway to get into the other side over there. And on the other side, actually buried in there, there is a Wi-Fi, I think, in that location over there. So this is just so you can access the front armored areas. Now, if I go full God mode here, there's hard to see anything. We do have a decoy generator in here. This is that Wi-Fi I was talking about. We got a decoy launcher in here, pointed backwards. And I know the reason now why you want to point that backwards, and I'll go over that in a sec. So actually, I'll just tell you about it now. When you're in the cockpit, you don't see this launcher come up as an optional weapon to fire. And I think the reason for that is because it's backwards. It's backwards placed. And I think that's the reason why you'd want to place it backwards. That way, I've seen it so many times before, I just never really thought about it. That is my conclusion. So other than that, that is kind of the nose area of the ship. There's, yeah, it's hard to say, but it's got, you know, decoy generator. The decoy thrusters are basically these thrusters here. They're kind of like packed in with Xeno, so you can shoot at that one, or you can shoot at this one. You can lose all these thrusters. They're not doing much of anything. They're mainly decoys, giving it maybe a little bit of extra handling specs, but very, very little. Okay, so that is engineering. So that's not all the ship yet. Let me get all the way back through engineering, back to the elevator here. Okay, so if we go up to the next floor, this gets turns this way a little bit. It's kind of weird because the bridge is really far back in the ship. So this is our little production utility room right below the first-person bridge. It does come, well, at least this version's coming with a universal constructor. That's the only constructor in here, and the reason why it's a universal is I believe the ammo for those big guns on the side need a universal constructor to build them. So if I put in a regular one, you won't be able to build the ammo that you'd need for your main weapons, which would kind of suck. So it does have armor repair and your weapons locker and armor locker, and a couple of the improved cores are over here. There is like a Xeno layer back over there too. And there is Xeno kind of wrapped around that fusion reactor area, and Xeno around some of the fuel tanks, and there's Xeno all over the place. There was a case-by-case basis on placing it, like what's there, what do I got to protect, kind of thing. And then you finally get up to the main bridge, which has an access door right at the top of the elevator. And right now I don't really have this. I was going to add a light in here and probably like O2 and a health bay or med station, and kind of call it a day. And that is pretty much it. I got a little bit more texturing to do in this area too. So that is pretty much a ship. So you got essentially your first-person bridge up there. You got your really kind of smallest crafting area, packed with a bunch of junk all over the place. Even got a little bed in the corner there, a little fridge. And then you get down to your fairly large engineering deck, which covers most of the ship. And then you got your hangar space down below, which also has a little bit of like shield engineering up front. Again, if I fly back in here, you can see that there is the big reverse thruster here. There's an armored piece of glass there. Locations for 4 small shield parts, and this one you're supposed to put in last, but that's sitting in there right now too. It's kind of like I was like, you know, I got a little bit of space. Could I sneak in like 2 more medium shield parts in the build too? And yeah, that's kind of what happened there. I just was trying to see how crazy I could get it with all that stuff. So if we're flying this thing around, let me turn on the HUD. And okay, let me turn off the shield for now. And now this is obviously without the fusion reactor. The fusion reactor would do a better job, but this is flying around without the fusion reactor, ion thrusters. And if I turn the shield on, do our 3-direction flight, it can spike a little bit like to that 103 that you've seen. But yeah, so it gets close. It gets close. A little bit over there for a second, but other than that, yeah, that's kind of how it's working. I usually see flying on the planet's surface, it takes a little bit more power than flying in space. So I think with the 2 advanced generators and the 1x3 generator, it could pull it off. But there's room for another 1x3 generator in the hangar as well to make sure it doesn't go over 100%. But if it does, it shouldn't go past it by much. And this is, again, the Core 9 setup with some extra CPU left over. So I actually, you know, man, I wish SVs would configure like CVs. I wouldn't have any problems building combat SVs if they played by the same number scheme as CVs, but they seem to play on something that's entirely more expensive to build anything. So, CPU-wise, that is. So, anyway, that is the build, and please let me know what you think of this. A lot of just messing around with this thing. That's why it's been taking so long. I meant to put out a video a couple days ago on it, and then I meant to put out a video yesterday, but it wasn't ready. I would have been, it's like, by the time I got to the video, I'm like, oh, I forgot, I didn't do this, oh, I got to change this, so it would have been a pointless video. So this one's almost done. Another, like, hour spent with it, mainly working on sensors and stripping out some parts to balance the CPU again for a Core 7 setup is really all that's left that I got to do. Add a couple LCDs and sensors and things, and I think it's ready to go for gameplay testing, which I'm going to try to bring this in on the playthrough I'm doing on the Anvil server this season. And as part of the goal, that's kind of why I wanted to get this ship done so I could bring it in there. I don't know if I want to bring it in exactly as is right now, though, because it's just missing some things. So, and again, I need like another hour with it. But other than that, please let me know your thoughts on this. Any problems with it or anything like that. Again, trying to make it neat, trying to go with a different look and style. It's way different than anything I've built before, especially looks. I've never made a ship so plain. I usually have things all over the place on there, but yeah, you know, it just doesn't fit with the look and style I wanted to try on this one. And I really wanted to try this style for a very long time. It's just I never end up doing it because I'm just like, well, I can't do this detail and I can't add texture lights and I can't do that and I just don't do it. And this time I was like, I'm gonna force myself to do it this time. Gosh darn it! It's a combat CV too, so it kind of feels right-ish, you know. So anyway, that's it for this. Please let me know what you think, and I will talk to you later.